Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Do you ever feel happy, sad or nauseous? If so, you might be a guest in RollerCoaster Tycoon 2, as they too can have those emotions. Not only that, as sometimes they can even become angry. In this video we'll take a look at all the different emotions that guests can have and what causes them. Their primary mood is determined by their happiness, and there are 7 different possibilities. Very happy, happy, content, neutral, disappointed, grumpy and very grumpy. Each of these emotions takes up about 1/7 of the happiness spectrum. This happiness value can range from 0 to 255, so these are the numbers that correspond to every emotion. Because 256 isn't exactly divisible by 7, the ranges aren't identical. From very grumpy to happy it's 37 points each time, which leaves a range of only 34 points for the very happy emotion. This doesn't really matter, as their face doesn't directly influence anything. There is no big jump in guest behavior between a guest with a neutral face and a guest with a content face. All guest behaviors that are influenced by happiness just use the raw happiness number instead, and these faces are only here to look nice and to give you a quick way to check how happy your guests roughly are. You do want your guests to be as happy as possible, as that has numerous benefits. For example, happy guests will pay more for items that are sold in shops and stalls. A guest with under 128 happiness will never pay more than €2.10 for a balloon, but a guest with over 180 happiness will sometimes pay up to €4.50. Happier guests will also ride rides that are further outside of their preferred intensity range. For example, in parks where guests prefer more gentle rides like Gentle Glen, guests all have a preference of 4 intensity or lower. Very grumpy guests will stick to this, but as they get happier they are willing to stray outside of that range further and further until about 2.5 points at maximum happiness. So, if you keep your guests very happy, you can build rides up to 6 intensity instead of just 4 and still have the guests ride them. Lastly, if guests are happy enough, have enough energy and have enough cash on them, they will never leave the park. There are even more things influenced by happiness, but this is enough to show that it's very important to keep your guests as happy as possible, and a list of big smiles means you're doing well. However, happiness isn't the only stat that influences the mood of your guests. It can be overridden by tiredness. This is very simple. If the energy level of a guest is below 70 out of 255, it will get the tired face, and if it is also below 47, it will get the very tired face. This happens regardless of the happiness level, so a very tired and unhappy guest looks the same as a very tired and happy guest. There are also 2 specific walking animations for tired guests, which are the one where they put their hands in their pockets and the one where they start hanging their head, because they lack the energy to keep it upright. It's easy to think that these belong to the tired and very tired moods, but that's not exactly the case. The energy thresholds are different, at less than 80 for the tired walking animation and less than 64 for the very tired walking animation. The happiness also needs to be less than 128 for these to occur, so a very happy guest will never slouch, no matter their energy level. These animations are purely visual and have no effect on their walking speed, as that is determined by their raw energy and nausea values. Speaking of nausea, just like tiredness can override the happiness phase of guests, nauseousness can override tiredness. There are 3 different nauseated phases, ranging from nauseous to very sick. Once a guest's nausea rating is above 140, which is slightly more than half, it will become nauseous. If it is also above 170, it will become sick, and above 200 it will become very sick. These last 2 phases also come with fun animations that clearly show that they're not feeling very well at all. The walking animation also changes when guests become nauseous. First, they put their hands in front of their mouth, and once they become truly sick, their faces also turn green. A nausea value above 140 slows down the guest's walking speed, which perfectly correlates with the hands over mouth animation. There is one more non-standard walking animation, and that is the crotch grab, which guests do when they really need to go to the bathroom. Just like the tired animations, this is purely visual and has no effect, but it does look funny. The crotch grab walking animation will be overridden by the tired animation, which in turn is overridden by the nauseated animation. So a very tired and very nauseous guest that also really needs to pee only looks nauseous from the outside, leaving their other struggles invisible. Oh, and if a guest has a balloon or a hat, then that overrides all other walking animations. Even if they haven't peed for 2 days, the power of the balloon makes it possible to walk upright without wetting themselves. There is one more mood that will override all the other ones, and that is rage, which works a bit differently than the other moods. If a guest has seen enough litter or vomit in a short time, has a happiness value of under 48 and has 85 or more energy, then there is a small chance that it will try to break a path ornament. If it succeeds, it becomes a vandal, which is accompanied by this big red angry face. Just like the sick faces, this also has a little animation when you click on the stats tab in the guest window. When a guest becomes a vandal, all other emotions don't matter. While a guest needs to be unhappy and energized enough to become a vandal, once it is one, the only thing that can stop it is time. When it breaks a path ornament, the angriness value is set to 16. Every 3.2 seconds this decreases by 1, so if it doesn't break anything for 51.2 seconds, it stops being a vandal and normal emotions take over again. So in short, a guest has 7 levels of happiness, which are overridden by 2 levels of tiredness, which in turn are overridden by 3 levels of sickness, which are all inferior to the most primary emotion of Hulk smash. To learn more about how to keep your guests happy, click this video that explains how entertainers work. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.